You're about to throw out a plant that isn't dead. Most people toss a wilting plant 2 days too soon. Here's what nobody tells you. It's not dead. It's a pressure problem. The water inside those cells drops too low and the whole thing goes limp, looks gone, feels gone. But the roots? Still alive, still waiting. And the fix is almost never in a bag at the garden center. It's in your kitchen, under your sink, in the trash you carried out this morning, the peel you just threw away, the ash in your wood stove. And one of them, I'll be straight with you, is the one thing every gardening expert online screams at you to never pour on a plant. We'll get to that. Stick around. They're only half right about it. Here's what the garden centers won't say out loud. The fertilizer industry pulls in $39 billion a year. Not $1 of it tells you about a banana peel. You can't patent an eggshell. You can't ship a wood stove on a pallet. And nobody at the register mentions the wilted plants. Researchers watched snap back 82% of their stiffness in 5 minutes, 5 from something that costs nothing. By the end of this, you'll look at your trash, your stove, your fridge in a completely different way. Before the list, one idea. Get this, and every method makes sense. Most gardeners were taught to diagnose a dying plant wrong. A plant that looks dead is almost never dead if you know how to read it. Soil pulling away from the pot, papery leaves curling inward, pot light as a feather. That's drought. The cells have lost their pressure and collapsed. Now the opposite. Limp, yellow lower leaves, a heavy pot, a sour, swampy smell. That's drowning. The roots are suffocating. Two problems that look identical, and they need opposite fixes. Here's the part that rewrites everything. When a cell loses water, the membrane peels off the wall. But researchers watching plants recover found a struggling one can claw most of that pressure back in minutes, and that about 73% of wilted plants fully recover if you fix the cause inside 48 hours. After 72 hours, that drops below a third. That's your window. So, the secret behind every method on this list is simple. We're not raising the dead. We're restoring pressure and sending the plant one signal: get back to work, in a form it can drink right now instead of 2 weeks from now. That's why these work overnight. Number 1, liquid seaweed extract. We'll start with the most studied one of the bunch. Sounds like a beach hippie thing. It's the most studied plant biostimulant on Earth. Brown algae, Ascophyllum nodosum, scraped off the cold rock coasts of Maine, Nova Scotia, and Iceland. Labs have torn it apart for 40 years. One researcher showed cabbage transplants dipped in seaweed put on a third more leaf weight in 4 weeks. Here's why. This isn't food in the NPK sense. It's hormones, cytokinins, auxins, gibberellins, plus amino acids. It's a phone call to a half-dead transplant. Calm down, push roots, get going. The recipe, 1 to 2 ounces per gallon, sprayed on the leaves early morning or evening, once a week. 2 mistakes. Don't go strong, the hormones work at tiny doses, and too much actually stalls roots. And if you harvest raw seaweed yourself, rinse it twice, or the salt burns the root zone. Best on frostbitten, drought-stressed, or transplant-shocked plants. They wake up in 1 to 4 days. But at number 2, a chemistry trick you can do with your breakfast trash. Number 2, eggshells in vinegar. Everyone saves eggshells. Almost everyone wastes them. Dry shells crushed into soil are basically rock insoluble, doing nothing for a year. But drop them in vinegar, acetic acid, and you trigger a reaction that turns the calcium carbonate into calcium acetate. Suddenly, it's water soluble. Calcium the plant can actually drink. And calcium builds cell walls and stops blossom end rot, that black sunken patch on the bottom of your tomatoes. Now here's the one that saves you money. People reach for Epsom salt for blossom end rot. Don't. Blossom end rot is a calcium problem, not magnesium, and dumping magnesium in competes with calcium at the root and blocks it. You make it worse. The recipe: 1 part crushed shell to 10 parts vinegar in a jar, cloth on top, never a sealed lid. The CO2 will crack the glass. Wait until the bubbling stops, a week or 2, then dilute a teaspoon per gallon. Honest note, this won't rescue a tomato that already has the black patch that fruit's finished. But every fruit, after it comes clean, spray before flowering, not after, At number 3, the bucket of gold sitting in your wood stove. Number 3, wood ash. Every winter, your wood stove makes a 5-gallon bucket of one of the most powerful and most dangerous fertilizers there is. Most folks toss it on the ice to melt it. Big mistake. Hardwood ash is loaded with potassium carbonate and calcium carbonate, and it dissolves fast enough to shift your soil pH inside a month. Potassium runs water movement and fruiting. Calcium strengthens stems. On acidic soil, it's a gift. The recipe: spread it thin, about 1 bucket per small garden per year, raked into the top inch, then watered in. 3 mistakes. 1. Test your pH first. On neutral or alkaline soil, ash pushes it too high and locks out micronutrients. 2. Keep it far from blueberries, azaleas, and rhododendrons acid lovers, it'll kill. 3. Never burn painted or treated lumber for ash that's heavy metals going onto your food. Brassicas, beets, and tomatoes on slightly sour soil perk up within weeks. At number 4, the one you literally peeled this morning, and the truth about it is uncomfortable. Number 4, banana peel steep. This is the single most hyped free fertilizer on the internet. I'm going to tell you the truth about it. Banana peels do carry real potassium and phosphorus, potassium for water regulation, phosphorus for roots and flowering, so the nutrients are real. Here's the uncomfortable part. A raw peel buried next to your tomato does almost nothing fast. Those nutrients are locked inside organic molecules, and soil microbes have to break them down before a root can touch them weeks, not overnight. Worse, a buried raw peel pulls oxygen out of the root zone and invites pests. So steep it. Chop the peels, cover with water, let it sit a week, strain, and water at the root zone that gets the potassium into solution far faster. Best on fruiting plants once they're already flowering. Don't expect a miracle. Expect a slow, steady potassium top-up and ignore anyone selling it as an overnight cure. At number 5, something used for 2,000 years sitting in your animal pen. Number 5, aged manure tea. The oldest liquid fertilizer there is, also the one that hurts the most people. Steep aged manure in water and you pull out a balanced shot of nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, the closest thing on this whole list to a complete plant food. The 3 nutrients a plant burns the most in a form roots take up directly. The recipe: a couple cups of well-aged manure in a burlap sack, dropped in a 5-gallon bucket for 2 or 3 days, then diluted to the color of weak tea root zone only. 2 hard rules. 1. It has to be aged. Fresh manure carries E. coli and weed seeds, and it'll burn tender roots off. 2. Never spray manure tea on leafy greens you'll eat raw. Done right, you'll see greening in a few days on any heavy feeder. At number 6, something that smells like death, and the French have sworn by it for centuries. Number 6, fermented herbal teas, comfrey, nettle, dandelion. This sounds like witchcraft. It's the British and French gardener's secret weapon. Comfrey is the star. In the 1950s, an Englishman named Lawrence Hills spent 20 years testing a Russian comfrey on a research farm in Essex. One strain stood out, number 14. Sterile, so it wouldn't take over the garden, and it carried 2 to 3 times the potassium of farmyard manure. Serious British gardeners still call it Bocking 1-4 today. Why it works? That deep taproot mines potassium and minerals out of subsoil your other plants can't reach, and stockpiles it in the leaves. Nettle and dandelion do the same for nitrogen. The recipe: pack chopped leaves into a bucket, cover with water, ferment 2 to 3 weeks, strain, dilute 10 to 1, pour at the root zone. The mistakes: 1. It reeks at the bucket 50 feet downwind. 2. It's high potassium, so keep it off lettuce and root crops and never ever drink it. It's toxic to your liver. Honest note: nutrient levels swing wildly batch to batch, so treat it as a feed, not a precision tool. At number 7, something that looks like motor oil and feeds the invisible workers in your soil. Number 7, blackstrap molasses. This one doesn't feed your plant at all. It feeds the soil. Unsulfured blackstrap molasses is loaded with carbon, plus potassium, iron, and magnesium. That word unsulfured matters. Sulfur kills the exact microbes you're trying to grow. So, molasses is pure fast food for soil bacteria and fungi. They bloom, multiply, and convert locked-up organic matter into nutrients the plant can finally take up. The recipe? 1 to 2 tablespoons per gallon of water at the root zone, or stir it into a compost tea to wake the microbes up. The mistake, and it's a sneaky one, don't overdo the sugar. Too much, and the microbial bloom pulls nitrogen out of your soil for a stretch. Your plants yellow before they bounce back greener. This one works over days, not overnight on the leaf. At number 8, the slowest thing on this list, and it's been working since the Ice Age. Number 8, rock dust. Quick reminder. Remember the thing every garden guru says to never pour on a plant? Getting close? But first, patience, because this one is the definition of it. Glacial rock dust is exactly what it sounds like. Stone ground to flour by glaciers. Silicon, iron, magnesium, a whole spread of trace minerals. It fixes the deficiencies. No NPK bag touches the stuff that builds strong cell walls and runs the plant's enzymes, and it releases slowly, over seasons, feeding soil life the whole time. The recipe? A light handful worked into the soil, or top-dressed once a season. Honest note, this is the opposite of overnight. Rock dust will not fix an acute nitrogen or phosphorus crash. Full stop. It's a long-game soil insurance, not a rescue. Use it as a foundation in any bed you'll grow in for years. At number 9, the golden water you'd normally pour straight down the drain. Number 9, cold black tea drench. Old houseplant trick. Real science, modest payoff, and I'll tell you exactly which is which. Black tea carries tannic acid and polyphenols, and they mildly acidify the root zone. In alkaline soil, that little acid shift acts like a chelating agent. It helps the plant grab iron it otherwise can't reach. That's why a houseplant with yellow new leaves and green veins, classic iron chlorosis, can green back up. But here's the honest truth. Tea has almost no nitrogen, phosphorus, or potassium. It is not a fertilizer. It's a pH nudge. If your plant is genuinely starving, tea won't save it. The recipe: brew it weak, let it go cold, water at the root zone of an acid-loving or iron-hungry plant occasionally, not daily. At number 10, another golden liquid, boiled off your dinner. Number 10, onion skin amber. You toss the papery skins every time you cook. There's a use for them. Steep dry onion skins in hot water and you get a golden infusion carrying potassium, a little calcium, and a compound called quercetin. Quercetin is an antioxidant and a biostimulant. It helps a plant ride out stress like drought or salty soil. Notice the pattern. It's not feeding the plant, it's bracing it. The recipe: a handful of dry skins, steeped in hot water, cooled, strained, watered at the root zone. Honest note, nutrient levels are low. This is a gentle stress buffer, not a feed, a bonus, never a backbone. Best on stressed seedlings and houseplants going through a rough patch. At number 11, the one you literally rinse off your rice. Number 11, fermented rice water. The cloudy water from rinsing raw rice, most people pour it straight out. It's a microbe starter. That water is full of starches, simple sugars, and B vitamins. Let it sit and ferment, and it grows lactic acid bacteria, the same family behind yogurt, sauerkraut, and kimchi. Those bacteria multiply in your soil and speed up the breakdown of organic matter into plant food. The recipe: catch the second, cloudier rinse, jar it, cover with a cloth, let it sour 3 to 5 days at room temperature, then dilute it heavily and water at the root zone. The key mistake: use it fermented, never fresh. Raw starch water in poor draining soil just feeds pathogens and turns rancid. Think of this as a soil conditioner. It works over days as the microbe population climbs, not instantly. At number 12, the one that drips out the bottom of your kitchen scraps. Number 12, vegetable scrap digestate. Not compost. This is the liquid that ferments out of your kitchen scraps. Ferment mixed scraps in water, and you get a digestate loaded with organic acids, soluble carbon, and trace minerals. It's an instant energy hit for soil microbes. It jump-starts nutrient cycling in tired, lifeless soil. The recipe: steep scraps in water, let them ferment, strain. Then, and this part is non-negotiable, dilute it hard, 1 part to 10 or 20 parts water, before it goes anywhere near a root. The mistake: raw digestate is acidic and phytotoxic straight. It'll scorch roots. Always dilute and let it breathe. Honest note: quality swings with whatever you threw in, so treat it as a microbe booster, not a measured feed. At number 13, the most boring thing on this entire list, and it fixes a problem none of the others can. Number 13, newspaper compost. Plain black and white newspaper. No, it's not a liquid miracle, stay with me, because it solves something the fancy stuff can't. Shredded newspaper is almost pure carbon cellulose. Here's why that matters. Your kitchen scraps are nitrogen heavy, and a compost pile that's all green goes slimy, sour, and anaerobic. Carbon is the fix. Newspaper is the cheap brown material that balances the pile so it composts clean and hot instead of rotting into sludge. The recipe: shred it, layer it into your compost with the wet green scraps, browns and greens in balance. The mistake: don't bury raw newspaper straight into a bed. It decomposes slowly and ties up your soil nitrogen the whole time. Compost it first. Honest note: skip the glossy color pages. Those inks aren't worth the risk on food crops. 2 left. At number 14, the thing I keep teasing's neighbor, and the one half the internet calls a superfood. Number 14, baker's yeast drench. One stop before the forbidden one. You've seen baker's yeast pushed online as a magic fertilizer. I'm going to pull the magic right out of it on purpose. A yeast drench carries a little nitrogen and a few trace elements. But look at the numbers. Diluted baker's yeast runs an NPK of roughly 0.04, 0.002, 0.004. That's not a fertilizer ratio. That's a rounding error. It will not feed a hungry plant. What it can do is compete with soil pathogens for a little space and food, a mild edge, nothing more. It does not fix nitrogen, and it does not beat plain compost. If you want to try it, a small amount, well diluted, watered in, then watch, and don't hold your breath. I put it on this list on purpose because half the gardening internet swears it's a superfood, and it isn't. Knowing what doesn't work saves you as much money as knowing what does. Which brings us finally to number 15, the one I promised. Number 15, diluted cola spray, the one they tell you to never pour on a plant. Soda. On your garden. Every expert says it's insane sugar, acid, ants, the whole disaster, and straight from the can, they're right. But heavily diluted? There's a sliver of real chemistry hiding here. Cola brings 2 things: simple sugars and phosphoric acid, which is actual phosphorus, the nutrient that drives roots and flowering. The sugar feeds soil bacteria. The acid drops a little phosphorus and mildly acidifies the root zone. That's the whole trick. If you ever want to experiment, dilute it brutally. At least 1 part cola to 50 parts water, flat, never fizzy, only at the root zone. But here's the straight truth, and the reason the experts warn you off it. There are 14 better things on this list. Use cola undiluted or sprayed on the leaves, and you'll scorch the plant and summon every ant in the county. This is a curiosity, not a strategy. I saved it for last, so you'd hear the honest version instead of the clickbait one. So that's 15. If you remember nothing else, remember this. The fertilizer industry didn't reach $39 billion a year because the blue crystals work better. It got there because you can patent a synthetic, bag it, and ship it on a truck. There's no earnings report for a comfrey patch. Nobody gets rich off your eggshells. And I'll be honest, because honesty is the whole point of this channel. A nitrate ion from a bag and a nitrate ion from a banana peel are chemically identical. The plant can't tell them apart, and neither can a lab. Synthetic nitrogen fed half the world. That's no small thing. The difference was never the ion. It's everything that rides along with the homemade version, the carbon, the living microbes, the slow release, and what it does to your soil over the years instead of stripping it bare. A few honest rules before you go. Don't run all 15 at once. Pick 3 or 4 that fit your life, your stove, your animals, your kitchen. Test your soil before you fix what isn't broken. Most deficiencies are guesses. Dilute everything. More is almost never better. Spray early morning or evening, never under the noon sun. And try one thing on a couple of plants before you bet the whole garden on it. Your trash, your stove, your fridge, your fence line. Every one of them is quietly making fertilizer for free. The gardener who learns to read all of them stops buying the bag. One thing before you go. If even one of these saved a plant you were about to toss, that's the whole reason this channel exists. No bag, no brand, no upsell. Just the stuff that actually works, told straight. So here's the ask. Subscribe, because everything here runs on the same rule. What the garden centers won't say out loud. And tell me down in the comments, which one are you trying first? The wood ash, the comfrey, or the one they told you to never touch? Drop the number, I read them. That's it. Go feed something.